Hey folks! In September of this year, I'm going to be taking part in the Divide 200 trail race. And this is a 200-mile race in southern Alberta following the Great Divide Trail through the Rocky Mountains. Now, one of the mandatory requirements of this particular race is to carry an emergency bivvy. And I haven't slept in a bivvy for a very long time. So today, what I'm actually going to do is sleep in a bivvy to try and get myself used to sleeping in those confined spaces again. I'm going to be using this one, which is the cheapest one that I could find on Amazon. And I'm just going to be laying down a footprint, spending the night in here, and just seeing how I get on in the great outdoors. Now, I'm not actually going to use the entire footprint because this bivvy is actually quite small. So I'm just going to use half of it. And the reason I'm using this is because this section of the campground is a little bit gravelly and I don't want to damage the bivvy. Now, this is the first time I've actually used this bivvy, so I don't really know how it goes together. But I'm guessing the pegs, tie ropes, the poles, wow, this really does look quite small. But this is going to be one fascinating night's sleep. Now, of course, what I'm trying to do here is simulate that emergency that might happen up on that high alpine, or maybe even on those lower trails. Pretty sure an emergency bivvy won't have these kind of poles, but this one does. It's pretty straightforward. Those little eyes that you get in those tents. Well, seems pretty simple so far. I guess that's where the pegs are going to go. So considering that was the first time I've put up this bivvy, it only took around about 5 minutes and it was really, really easy. And it's also pretty low profile, as you can see. There's enough pegs to peg out all the corners, these little guy ropes to give it that stability. Well, straight away you can see that it's a very low profile bivvy, as to be expected. It's got the 2 hoops, and these are where the poles go in, and obviously you just pop them into the eyes, just like so down there. If you get the tension right, certainly using these guy ropes here, it makes sure that you haven't got that sag in the middle, and hopefully it'll prevent, if we get any rain, I doubt whether we'll get any rain tonight, but that'll prevent any of that sagging should it rain heavy. There's a vent here on the front. That is the only vent to this bivvy. It'll certainly be interesting to see how much condensation we get overnight. And the zip, let's have a look inside. Seems... Oops, it looks like we opened that the wrong way and we actually closed it rather than opened it. It's got this mosquito net as well, this netting. I guess that's good for summer nights as well. If it gets too warm, you can always open that up and keep the bugs out, but have that fresh air coming in. And there's the inside. Oh my goodness. That is... quite small. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of night's sleep I have in there. I have got to put my sleeping mat in there and a sleeping bag. Obviously I won't be carrying those kind of things during the race, but for this particular purpose tonight, I want to make sure that I do get a decent night's sleep. So let's go and get things set up. So I'm going to be trying out the Apollo Air mattress tonight. This one's lighter than my other air mats that I use, but it's also a little bit thicker, so it'll give me that extra insulation should things get a little bit chilly overnight. And this is apparently easier than using my lungs. That is a perfect fit. Eek. That definitely looks cosy. I think I'm going to climb in and just give it a little bit of a test. Oh my God. Well, I'm in. There's not much room for manoeuvrability in here, but then I guess that's the purpose of a bivvy. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how I get on in here tonight. I just hope that I don't wake up panicking. Right, I'm gonna get some food now, and then I'll be back with you soon. So I'm just going to cook up a little bit of steak on this groovy little wood stove that I have here. Just put a little bit of salt and pepper on there. That's pretty well done. Nice piece of steak for supper. Well, I'm going to enjoy this, and then it's going dark now, so I will start getting myself ready for bed. Alright then folks, well, it's gone dark now, and I've managed to wriggle myself into this little bivvy here. You would safe to say I know how a slug feels now when they try to shuffle along the floor. It was a little bit of a fight, but I'm in here. Just to mention, of course, when I do my 200-mile race, I'm not hoping to use a bivvy. The reason that I'm kind of trying this out is just in case I do need to use an emergency bivvy. Obviously, the race is going to be in the high alpine of the mountains, and I don't know what the weather conditions are going to be like. It may be that I have to hunker down because a storm moves in, and I just need that extra protection from the weather and the elements. It may be that it gets a little bit chilly on the tops and we have snow. It may be that I need first aid or just have to lay low for a wee while I'm waiting for help to come or anything. And of course I can't plan for those kind of things. All I can do is prepare for those kind of things. So this is just the start of a few months worth of practicing those not necessarily mountaineering skills, but maybe those survival skills, those things that you need to know to be self-sufficient if you're on your own out in the mountains or in the backcountry for any length of time. And of course the race is going to be for 4 days. There's a time limit of 96 hours. So I don't know what's going to happen during that time. I've never done this kind of distance, and of course that's why I am doing this race. So spending a night in this bivvy is just kind of preparing myself both mentally and physically for anything that may happen. Anyway, on that note, I am going to get some shut-eye now, and I will of course update you in the morning as to how comfortable a night's sleep I've had. And yeah, let's just see what happens. We've been having some northern lights alerts, so you never know, I may wake up in the middle of the night and see the northern lights, the aurora borealis. If I do, I will hopefully share those with you, but otherwise sleep tight, and of course I will see you in the morning. Well, good morning everybody.
It's around about 6 a.m. and I have had the most awful night's sleep. I really do feel like I've got bags under my eyes this morning. But yeah, it's been quite a chilly night, I have to say. I think what's happened is there is so much condensation in here that my sleeping bag is wet. I actually feel quite cold. There wasn't quite enough room in here to fidget around and get myself comfortable so that my sleeping bag covered me completely. So of course that moisture's got onto my clothing. And then I mentioned that we were actually on a campground and somebody had their music playing till the early hours, and it's just been like, oh, it's been one of those nights. I'm not sure if you can actually see just how wet everything is here. It is drenched, it really is. But it's, I guess to some degree that's to be expected, given that this was, as I said earlier, just a cheap bivvy from Amazon. Just trying to show you just how little room there is in here. It is really a tight squeeze. Yeah, everything is just absolutely soaking wet. The other problem as well is that there is a bit of a slope, so it's quite slippery, the sleeping bag and the sleeping mat, and I kept sliding downwards, so every time I fell off I had to wriggle back on as best as I could. And as I say, there really isn't much space in here. But in all fairness, when I open my front door on a morning like this, one can't really complain about the view. Okay, well on that note, I'm gonna get up, make myself a warm cup of tea and get my toes warmed up because they are absolutely freezing.
Things have warmed up a bit now, the sun's up properly and everything inside here is drying out. And I just want to say that even though it was a cold night and I didn't sleep too well, that's not to say that I didn't have fun trying things out. And of course the next step is to get hold of the actual emergency bivvy, give that a try and just see how I get on using that thing ready for race day. And for those of you that were wondering about the brand of this particular bivvy, it's just a generic one from Amazon, as I said, the Lytharvest Bivy, and it cost around about 60 to 70 Canadian dollars. Well, I've got to get ready for my run now, so I'm going to sign off. Thanks to everybody for watching. If you have enjoyed watching this video and you want to follow along on the next few adventures in terms of preparation for my race and other outdoor things, then please do consider subscribing. And in the meantime, take care, and I shall see you all again very soon.